but we both named games that we thought, and we were pretty close on them in week one. I'm gonna go to change it up. I'm gonna go first here for this segment.
Ooh,
Um,
okay.
so these are my top games for week two. Four of them are in the 1 o'clock window, and this is in no particular order. The first one, a Baltimore team that struggled a little bit with Houston in the first half at home. They go to Cincinnati, who, with a banged up Joe Burrow, is going to be angry and looking to put points on the board after they couldn't do nothing against the Browns. But Baltimore also plays Cincinnati very tough, and they arguably had to win this game as well because they have the Browns as well as the Steelers on the road in week 4 and week 5. So tough sledding for Baltimore. Next game, I touched on this earlier. Seattle at Detroit. Beeping alarm bells if I'm Seattle. If you start 0-2 and give up a lot of points in a shootout to Detroit after a game you should have won against the Rams in week one, Lions looking to carry the momentum. We already talked about Chiefs Jacksonville. Obviously, that is a huge game. I'm going to give you one that's a little bit under the radar. Vegas at Buffalo. And I say this because if Buffalo loses, or dare I say keeps it close against Vegas, once again, alarm bells sound in my head for Buffalo, who absolutely, Josh Allen needs to have a bounce back game. They cannot afford to go 0-2 with the drama that's been there with Stephon Diggs and everything going on with Sean McDermott over there. And then the final game, which is a huge game on Monday Night Football, the second one of the Monday Night Football doubleheader. I alluded to this earlier. Browns are 1-0. They have a lot of momentum after beating Cincinnati. They have not beaten Pittsburgh, I don't believe, on the road since that playoff game when Baker Mayfield went in there with no fans. If the Browns start 2-0 and Pittsburgh starts 0-2 with 2 home losses, that is DEFCON 1 for Pittsburgh, I believe. Do they fire the offensive coordinator? Kenny Pickett looked horrible. And even without Deontay Johnson, Pittsburgh has always played the Browns tough. Browns, in my opinion, are going in there with nothing to lose, and they're going to feel really good. And hopefully Deshaun Watson can get back on track. But those are big games this weekend for teams like Cincinnati, teams like Buffalo, teams like Pittsburgh, teams like Kansas City that started 0-1, did not play well, teams with high expectations that need, in my opinion, to win this weekend.
All right. I like your list. Now I'm going to come at you with mine. First of all, it's Chiefs Jaguars is at the top of the list for me. This is easy. Patrick Mahomes against Trevor Lawrence. Can Trevor Lawrence put himself into that discussion with Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow? Can he do it? This could go a long way in determining that. Is Jacksonville a true contender? This game could go a long way in determining that also. Plus, we talked about Travis Kelce. If he comes back, how does that change the offense for Kansas City? Chris Jones coming back, that's going to give the Chiefs a boost defensively. We saw what the Jaguars can do offensively last season without Calvin Ridley. Now they're bringing him in, and he made an impact in week 1 against the Colts. To go along with Travis Etienne, Tank Bigsby, the rookie out of Auburn, Zay Jones, Evan Ingram. So this is going to be an interesting matchup. All right, next one. We talked about this one earlier when we were talking about Jordan Love. Green Bay at Atlanta. 2 1-0 teams, both coming off of wins in division last week. Green Bay, obviously, on the road in Chicago. Atlanta at home against Carolina. We think that Green Bay is more legitimate than Atlanta. But what if Desmond Ridder goes out there and just balls and completely outplays Jordan Love and the Falcons win in convincing fashion? I'm not saying they're going to, but just hypothetically, what if that happens? I think that changes the conversation in fairly dramatic fashion. To what extent, I'm not sure, but I think it changes the conversation. So there's that. And then I'm also going to say the San Francisco 49ers at the Los Angeles Rams. This is one of the best rivalries in the NFL, in my opinion, right now. When San Francisco plays at LA, it might as well be freaking Levi's Stadium because the 49ers fans just take over. But think about this. Rams are coming home feeling good after upsetting the Seahawks in Seattle, and the 49ers absolutely bulldozed the Steelers in Pittsburgh. So this could be a very big game in possibly deciding the NFC West. Maybe the Rams come out and say, hey, we're back to what we were 2 seasons ago. So don't just dismiss us. This could go a long way. All right. I like your pick of Raiders Bills, but it doesn't quite have the same meaning to me. Seahawks Lions, I'll make that an honorable mention. But I'm going with an AFC South battle next. Battle of the rookie quarterbacks. Anthony Richardson against CJ Stroud. Colts, Texans. Both teams coming off of losses. Who got it right? Did the Colts get it right by drafting Anthony Richardson, or did the Texans get it right by drafting CJ Stroud? This is going to be the first time they go head to head. And then for my last game, Sunday Night Football in Foxborough, AFC East division matchup. Miami Dolphins at the New England Patriots. The Dolphins have to fly all the way back from the West Coast in LA to the East Coast to play this game. So maybe they're not in the right headspace time-wise. We'll see. That could play a factor. But think about this. The Patriots were in position to win that game last week against against the Eagles. The Patriots were definitely in that game. If Mac Jones hadn't made a couple of those silly mistakes, the Patriots might have won that game.
Well, so if Jalen Hurts doesn't fumble and go on.
Yes, but you were talking about it earlier. The Dolphins, if Tua can stay healthy, yeah, the Dolphins are a legit Super Bowl contender. But that's the reason why I did not include them as as a Super Bowl contender or a dark horse, is just because I don't know about Tua's health. But Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, I don't know how you stop them. And maybe Bill O'Brien is the answer for Mac Jones and this Patriots offense. I don't know. But you got that chess match. Mike McDaniel against Bill Belichick. Offensive-minded head coach against a defensive-minded head coach. That's going to be a really intriguing game.
The only one I disagree with you really on is Indy Houston. It doesn't really give me that much draw, partially because I don't think CJ Stroud's going to work in Houston. I just think there's better games on the table. I think I'm surprised you left out Browns Steelers. I really am. I think that's a huge game, especially it's more a huge game for Pittsburgh. If they go 0-2 at home in whatever it's called now, it's not Heinz Field, whatever it's called now.
Acrisure Stadium.
Acrisure Stadium. Pittsburgh's going to be calling the radio stations looking to replace Kenny Pickett.
Think about this for a minute. Not to overlook the Steelers, but the Browns have an opportunity in front of them to go possibly 3-0 to start the season. Because after Monday night against Pittsburgh, they come home and play Tennessee.
They should beat Tennessee.
I get that the Titans have DeAndre Hopkins and Derrick Henry, but do you really trust Ryan Tannehill as their starting quarterback?
He was absolutely terrible. The Titans-Saints game was weird. Real quick, before we get out of here, I'll give you another sneaky game. My team Thursday night, Vikings-Eagles. Vikings coming over an embarrassing loss. Eagles have some injuries. Nakobe Dean is out. Sounds like James Bradbury is going to be out. Can Darius Slay take out Justin Jefferson once again?
Right. I mean, Kirk Cousins, he comes
Cousins in prime time, but he has played well against the Eagles in his career. With that, we got to run. Go ahead. Okay.
The other sneaky game, I would say, Bears Buccaneers.
Yes, very sneaky. If Tampa starts off 2-0, can you imagine? Bears 0-2, they're panicking. Tampa with Baker Mayfield, and we know what Baker can be capable of. So I agree with you there.